In Melbourne, policeman Bob Armstrong knows the Hells Angels have a hit out on them. He also knows they've hired an assassin from America. It's now up to airport officials to stop Jim Brandis from stepping foot in the country.
Next minute, some people in Canberra rang me to say that he's got a visa, he's in Australia, and he's at Tullamarine Airport. So there was no time to make plans other than we'll go to the airport. They were holding him out there in the AFP cells. And have a talk to him. It was an interesting day because we walked straight up. I never bothered to introduce myself to him, tell him my name. I didn't have to. He'd obviously seen photographs of me. He simply looked at me and said, "Shit, you look like Benny Hill."
Is that what they're calling me, is it?
Hey, Serge, take a look at this.
It's some interesting things in there. Like you have a pair of thumb screws that you can put on people if you want to torture them. And if you look at some of the murders that the Hells Angels have committed in Canada and America over the years, so they do put thumb screws on people and just shoot them in the back of the head. I think like his nickname says, he was an assassin. So we turned him around and sent him back home. He never set foot outside the airport.
Have a good trip home.
1 year later, Armstrong had collected enough evidence to send Peter Hill to jail on serious drug charges. These photos show Hill and his cronies being arrested.
Police say tonight's raids follow years of investigation and intelligence gathering.
4 males in their early 20s have been arrested and are all members of an international bikie group with overseas affiliations.
Peter Hill is out of jail now and living the quiet life in country Victoria.
I think by one he lost. He'd accept that, I think.
Peter Hill might have lost the battle, but the bikies were winning the war. Before his arrest, Hill sold his recipe for speed to another gang for the princely sum of $1,000. Before long, bikies across Australia were cooking up a storm. They quickly established themselves as Australia's leading drug retailers, and they were as handy in the garden as they were in the kitchen. Their cannabis operations can often meet world standards.
This has been all self-made by the fella. This is the first room we've got here, which has got 56 mature cannabis plants.
If you look at the footage, it's extremely professional. The person who put the electrics in knew exactly what they were doing with the ballast, and the setup was the best I've seen in 26 years. I've never seen a hydroponic setup as good as that.
This has all been wired up professionally, as you can see, and it's just basically all on time pumps. Everything's just computer controlled.
Whiteboards, flowcharts, an industrial strength electrical system. This business was turning out plants worth $250,000 each month.
It's all about money, drugs, and it's a business, and they run it as a business.
In the last decade, gangs have changed. More and more are being run as criminal enterprises, pure and simple. They have a large and loyal workforce, a product that is in constant demand, and a corporate structure that's as ordered as any Fortune 500 company.
Like any business, you can decide to partner with another business, or you can decide to compete aggressively with another business, and the bikies are exactly the same.
These corporate squabbles give a whole new meaning to the term hostile takeover.
They've got no morals. It's just straight out immorality. They just see an opportunity and they'll take it.
But the Blackmarket Cafe was a bit of an icon in Sydney, and very much so as a day club where people would go after spending the night out. So it was quite popular with clubbers who used to go to the Cross or go to the pubs or come out late, and then they would gravitate to the Blackmarket Cafe and then stay there till lunchtime, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
The rebels ran security at the door of the black market and thus controlled a thriving drug trade inside. It appears the Bandidos wanted a slice of the action. On November 9th, 1997, two rebels, Con Giorgio and Bruce Harrison called a meeting. In attendance, Bandidos National President Michael Kulakowlski and Sergeant-at-Arms Sasha Malenkovic. And then there was the new boy, probationary member Rick de Stoop, recently hired as muscle. Rick's mother Jean and his little sister Yvette never understood his fascination with the bikie world.
I noticed this jacket hanging with probationary Bandido on it, and I said, "Rick, what is this?" Because, you know, I was a bit surprised, and he said, "Oh, I've just been given the job as a bodyguard for the main man." I said, "You're a sitting target. Why would you want to be a bodyguard for, you know, a leader of a bike group, you know?" And he said, "Oh, he's a nice guy. We've got something in common."
When I saw the bike jacket, obviously I too was a little bit concerned, but I didn't understand what that could lead to or what that would mean or possibly could mean.
We had to accept the fact that he was happy choosing being a bodyguard for a leader of a bike group.
Jean de Stoop's fears became reality on that Sunday in inner city Sydney, when Rick and his two Bandido mates met with rebels Con Giorgio and Bruce Harrison.
At some stage during conversations between the two groups, they've gravitated downstairs. There's been a conversation take place, but at some stage it has really turned nasty.
There was no reason for the Bandidos to suspect anything was wrong.
They would have gone down there thinking they were going down for a friendly chat, and that's why it was an ambush.
Of the 5 men who walked down the stairs to the Blackmarket basement, only 2 would leave alive.
What's with the glass, Craig?
People have heard the noise. Hysteria has broken out within the club. We have Harrison and Giorgio leave the premises, Harrison with a gunshot wound to the arm, and both carrying pistols, and they go to Con Giorgio's silver Porsche, and that's pursued through the streets of Redfern.
Harrison and Giorgio eventually dumped the guns and the car. Not long after, police spotted a bleeding and injured Bruce Harrison on the streets.
Police grab him, he escapes again, he's running down the street. There's a man who's wheeling a push bike up the street and sees the police pursuing Harrison and throws the push bike at Harrison. Just knocks him off his feet and the police grab hold of him. Funnily enough, we were never able to find out who that bloke with the push bike was again, so he didn't come forward, but he was certainly most helpful in assisting us to arrest Harrison.
Sasha Malenkovic and Rick de Stoop were killed instantly. Michael Kulakowlski died a short time later.
Dad said, "Ricky's been shot," and I just remember feeling like my guts had been cut open and all of my insides was just across the grass, and I remember falling, and all I could think was, "No, not Rick, not Rick, can't be Rick, just it can't be, that can't be right, can't be Rick."
This is the official police interview with Bruce Harrison.
I started to take my jacket off, and that's when all the commotion started. My hand got hit, and I started proceeding out to the front of the club along with nearly everyone in the club.
When he was arrested, he was taken to hospital, and then he sought the advice of a barrister and gave a very detailed version of events of what had transpired in the nightclub and his involvement. And that was along the lines of, I was upstairs, I was an innocent victim, I was taking off my leather jacket, and I got hit by a stray bullet, which we were able to prove in the end was simply a lie.
Coming up, we take you to the heart of the crime scene with never previously released police footage, shot just hours after the murders.
It wasn't just one of those crime scenes that walk in, walk out. It was one of those crime scenes that went for days and days and days.
Plus the extraordinary police work that pieced together exactly what happened in that basement. And later, on Gangs of Oz, The love-struck courier who lost his load and brought down a major nomad's drug operation.